Hi everybody, my name is Barry Schwartz and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, June 16th, and this is the search news we covered at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com over the past week. First up, there potentially was a Google update, probably a small Google update around June 14th, this Wednesday, maybe starting sometime in Tuesday. It was very small. I don't think most people noticed it. I'm not sure how many industries it impacted or how many types of keywords it impacted, but there definitely was some chatter across Webmaster World, not so much in the Black Hat forums, and most of the tools, but some of the tools didn't really pick up on it. This is Modcast. Modcast is completely all over the place. In general, SEMrush, their tool picked it up on the 14th. Significantly. The other tools somewhat, not significantly, picked up that volatility. So there may have been an update around then. Check your rankings, check your search traffic, and make sure you're okay. If not, let me know, and maybe I could dig into it a little bit more. Google promises, on that note, to confirm major algorithm updates. They aren't going to confirm small ones, and typically everything these days are small ones. They're not really doing any major algorithms or major algorithm updates. Google said, and they've said over the time that things like their mobile interstitial penalty, their mobile first index, those types of things are big. But I don't really necessarily consider them algorithm updates. That's an index update, that's an infrastructure change, that's a new penalty. But algorithm updates, they're not going to confirm, which is pretty interesting. And Google said this at XMX. They only confirm major ones. Gary commented a little bit about Fred. He wouldn't talk much. He pretty much reiterated what he said before. Basically, if you think you were hit by Fred, read the quality sections of their guidelines. That covers many of the reasons why you may have been hit by Fred, he said. Google said also, even though they have the featured snippets analytics tool done, or mostly done in Search Console, they are not going to release it to the public, at least not yet. And that's due to political reasons. We saw it being beta tested for for a year at least, and there's the featured snippet link in the beta test. I know some people did have access to it in their beta, but for some reason Google's bosses, or Gary's bosses and John's bosses, said no, we don't want to release it because they don't see a benefit to the webmaster for having such data. So what Gary recommends is you tweet to him and explain what benefit a webmaster would have, an SEO would have from getting that data, and then he'll move that up the ladder to his bosses, and hopefully they can release it. But I don't think he sees any chance of that being released in any event. Talking about that, although they're not going to release the feature snippets analytics, they are working on it and are going to release voice search data, voice search analytics to webmasters, because they want webmasters to understand when Google Home, Google Assistant, voice search in general from Google is actually triggering Google to show your responses, and Google's going to work on that. They don't tell you when exactly. They've been talking about this for over a year, so I'm not exactly sure when that's going to be released, but they are working on it, and they did say it will be released. Google said if you are buying links, it's like throwing money out of the window. He said that, Gary said that at XMX Advanced. He said if you're buying links, it's like throwing your money out the window, technically, literally. And he actually said literally it's like throwing money out the window. Of course, SEOs get a good laugh at that. Already 63 comments on the site, all pretty much mocking what Gary said. Again, it's up to you to test what you think works, and be careful when you do stuff that are against Google's guidelines. Google's mobile first index is many, many quarters away, Gary said at XMX Advanced. He thinks it's sometimes in 2018. The initial release is supposed to be in 2017, he said, but it's definitely pushed out to 2018. The question is, how soon could they release it? And that's unclear. There's a lot of issues in terms of figuring out how to measure page rank and this and that. So it is very interesting to see what's going on there. And again, it's not going to happen until 2018. With that, Gary basically said because of these page rank issues, because there's less content, less links on the mobile web versus the desktop web, they may have to smear, he said, the word smear, desktop signals into mobile, which they currently do on the reverse. They currently smear mobile signals into desktop signals as well right now. And they might have to say, all right, we're going to look at the desktop web for link data, and we're going to smear some of that data into the mobile index to see if we could actually use that to make this mobile index first work. Again, it's unclear. They're still testing things and seeing how things are working. Google also said they are rewriting their page speed algorithm to specifically work over mobile, because really desktop page speed is not that important. It's really about when it comes to mobile that page speed is important, and Google said they're actually working to revamp their mobile page speed algorithm based on mobile. Google said there is no new machine learning stuff they have to talk about. RankBrain was the latest thing. They haven't updated RankBrain in a long time. It's released in all languages. But there is nothing coming out soon, new shiny machine learning stuff, AI stuff, coming to the search algorithm anytime soon, at least that he's aware of. So that's interesting. Google's John Mueller said that they don't use machine learning in a targeted way, specifically like, we're using machine learning for this specific reason, that specific reason in our search quality algorithm, so there are no real penalties around specific penalties, specifically targeting specific things using machine learning. He said that in a video. Google said they have a two-pronged approach to search spam. One is to either ignore the spam, or the other is to penalize the spam, and they typically lean more on the ignoring side these days as opposed to the penalizing side these days. And with that, Google confirmed that the mobile interstitial penalty did roll out, even though a lot of people said no, it didn't, and people are like, why? You said it was releasing, you should be penalizing sites. And then Google's like, well, don't you hate when we penalize sites? So it's like a catch-22. But anyway, Google confirmed it did roll out. Google said the status quo with the HTTPS algorithm, Ranking Boost, nothing's changed with it, nothing probably will change with it, it's staying the way it is right now, and there are no plans to change that. Google explained what is near duplicate content in a tweet, which is pretty interesting. And basically, here it is. Gary said, think of it as a piece of content that was slightly changed, or if it was copied one-to-one, but the boilerplate is different. So that's what near duplicate content is, according to Gary from Google. Google said there is an opportunity, said this before, to create content in other languages, not English, because Google has a lot of content in English, and if you want to go ahead and rank for that kind of competitive keywords, you should try other languages. Maybe German, maybe Hebrew, maybe French, maybe Spanish. There's a lot of opportunity in other languages. Google is testing hotel price slider with graph pricing. So here you can see the little pricing levels in terms of how much the prices are in those regions. So these are the number of hotels. So if you want, this is up to 308. So above 308, here's hotels. How many hotels cost more than $300 or so in this time frame? Pretty interesting. Google officially went live with their website builder tool. Their website builder tool in Google My Business. So that's interesting. I'm not sure if this froze. It looks like the camera froze, but hopefully you guys are still watching. And finally, Google for Android, Gboard for Android, had some cool features, like you can actually draw out your emojis and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. In any event, thanks so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz, and this is search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable, SERoundtable.com, over the past week. For those who are watching the live stream, I apologize if it went offline. Everyone have a great weekend. I'll see you guys next. Bye.